to energy medicine. Introduction. Who here has some experience or exposure or knowledge or anything about it? All right, yeah, so a bunch of you. So you know Donna's work specifically or other types of energy medicine, because there's a few floating around out there. Yeah. And what was your name? Janelle. I think you had the book before I even discovered it, which was in 1999, something like that.
Yeah,
Well, it was right before I found the book.
It had just started, just the word of it was just getting out. One of the women I was doing some work with at the time was a healer, and I was immediately attracted to it.
Right. Let me just introduce myself so you know who I am. My name is Suzee Utke, and I actually started studying Donna's work in 2000. And so part of how I came to it was I was already studying Carolyn May stuff. Did anybody study that? And so I was working at night at the time and would come home, and I just could barely wait to get to the kitchen table before I'm just like gobbling up the book, right? And I mean, it was nightly, I promise. I just devoured that book, and I kept thinking, why, I wish I could study with her, but I couldn't find out, or I couldn't find out how to do it. And eventually, I think it was not too long after that, that was probably in '98, I'm not sure when, but I found that she was teaching in St. Louis, Missouri, and she had started a medical intuitive program. And so I was there, I wanted to get through the whole program, and I loved how, I always say she was orthodontics, mental orthodontics, because she really shaped how I thought about things. And she could see energy, she could see exactly what was going on in any given person, but I kept thinking, but how do you fix it, I could never quite get to that, I couldn't quite get the practical aspect of it. And then I was in Annie Bloom's books once, about at that same time, and I was wandering around in there and I saw a book called Instant Emotional Healing. And I was like, I have to buy that book right now, but it wasn't published for about 2 months yet. And so it was written by a couple of doctors in San Diego, and what it was about was, tapping, the EFT tapping. And so I immediately went home thinking, I can't wait 2 months, And I immediately went home and started researching it online, ran into a book called Energy Tapping, and which was partially written by David Feinstein, who was Donna's husband. And so I would walk around in the halls. This was the first point I learned, which is the gamut point. So who knows the gamut point? Yeah, it's a fear point. It's a point that you tap. It's along the triple meridian, which we'll talk about a little later tonight. But it's if you've got any kind of fear going on. And so I would walk around in the halls. I'm just tapping this point, tapping, and so that was the first point I learned. And once I was introduced to David Feinstein, well, then Donna was right behind, and so. I bought her book immediately, and it was a little bit, felt a little bit, there was so much information in there. Anyone experienced that? So much information in there that I couldn't quite digest it all. So I was teaching a class of teenagers at the time, and I had a good girlfriend. She was teaching little kids, and she came into you'll understand this as soon as we work through some of these exercises, but my friend came into the room and she goes, oh, well, I'm just so upset about this class, and I don't know what's going to happen. And she's doing all of these things, and she said, I'm just a little nervous, but I think I'll be all right. And she's going through all of these things, and she said, it's this new thing, I'll tell you all about it later. And I said, I already know about it. And so within a month, we were both on our way to a first 5-day class with Donna.
What's Donna's last name?
Pardon me?
Eden.
Donna Eden, yes.
Okay.
The Garden of.
And she used to live in Ashland.
Is what?
She used to live in Ashland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was on the way. We were on the way to her class, and It's, once you've seen her, experienced her, well, I can't quite go back, you know. So anyway, energy medicine, let me talk a little bit about it. Energy medicine, we're all electromagnetic, right? So this is, what is happening with energy medicine is Donna has created this thing because she sees energy precisely. I mean, she can see exactly what's going on in your body at any given moment. And she was actually very ill. And well, I think she was born without certain enzymes. She would have had to have these strange diets. Like one year she ate red meat only for the entire year because it was the only thing that she could digest. She would gain weight on lettuce and she would lose weight on red meat. And she got MS twice. She had a heart attack at the age of 27. She got breast cancer at 32. And all of it without really knowing. She could see energy, but she didn't really know how to work with it. So over the years, she actually brought herself out of MS twice. And so she, as we've heard many stories where the doctors give up on you, there's so many things going on, the doctors give up, and they had told her, it's really nothing else we can do for you, and she was very, very young. And so she said that she would lay in bed, you'll learn this later tonight, the crossing over, and she was so weak that she couldn't even really walk, but she could see that the energies in the body, she could see the electromagnetic energies needed to cross over, and so she would just lay in bed and she would cross everything that she could cross to try to get both sides of the brain and body working together. And throughout the years then she developed this method of working with all the electromagnetic energies. So I'm going to pass this out to you guys. We're going to go through it all, but just so you can familiarize yourself with the 9 different energy systems that she sees and works with. Right. And just, you know, she often talks about, so we've got these systems, we've got meridians, chakras, auras. Energy wants to move. It wants to move. And another principle of energy medicine is that it needs space to move. We all know what it feels like when you either can't move or you feel constricted or contracted. It needs space to move, and it also likes to move in predictable patterns. Like the figure 8 is a very predictable pattern, and that pattern will show up in every different aspect of the auric field as well as the body down to the cellular level. So that little infinity sign, that little figure 8 goes throughout our entire cellular structure. It also likes to cross over a lot. So when we are sick, when we have illness or depression, either emotional illness or physical illness, oftentimes the energies of the body are not crossing over, and that's what we call a homolateral condition. When you're in a homolateral condition, the energies are running down one side and down the other side. Nothing is crossing over, and when that happens, you really can't operate at full capacity, because if you think about it, how do we walk? We walk like this. So as I'm walking, there's a crossover. There's a crossover that's naturally happening, right? There's a crossover that's happening. And so I try to, I mean, this is maybe a silly way to describe it, but when we're talking about a homolateral condition in the body, when someone's very ill, not strong, things are going on, it's like, it'd be like walking around in the world like that. It takes a lot of energy, it's awkward, it's just not easy. And so that would be, that's part of energy wanting to cross over. Figure 8s, it wants to, there are a lot of spirals, as we know, with the chakras, and we'll be talking about those right about now.
So the first system that I want to talk about is meridians. Who knows a lot about meridians or anything about meridians? You do. Okay, good. Yeah. So meridians, as you know, are a very specific electromagnetic current. I was just in an EFT class, taking an EFT class in California, and as the teacher gave me an acupen for a gift. Have any of you seen this? I'm like, what is that? And she said, oh, it's a little pen. Not quite sure how it works yet, but it'll detect acupuncture points on the body. And, because when an acupuncture point on a meridian, it's like that's where it's coming, it's coming to the surface, so this little tool can detect it. Not that you need that to detect the energies at all. But let me just go back to meridians. So meridians are, they have a very specific pathway, and in everybody they are the same. They run along the same pathway, and it is electromagnetic currents that are moving in a certain direction. We have the yin meridians on the front of the body. We have the yang meridians on the back side of the body, and they all have their application. I'm trying not to get too deep into it. Just know that when I'm describing what happens with meridians, we have a way of tracing them because it's a meridian. Some people will say there's only one meridian in the body, and it just goes into the body at certain places and then surfaces at certain places, and that's where we come up with where they originate, where they end. And when we're working with the 5-minute daily energy routine, we're working with a lot of the points on the meridian. For example, K27 is the end of the kidney meridian. Starts at the bottom of the foot, which is like the wellspring of life point. But one of the points that we often work with is the K27 right here. And why? Because K27 is such a fundamental meridian. That is like flipping all the lights on in the house. So when you're tired, when you're driving down the road and you're tired, or if you just need to feel a little boost, the K27s are a great one to thump. And that's one of the ones we're going to learn tonight with the now, it says 3 thumps, but it's now with 4 thumps. And another ending point is the stomach meridian right here. These points under the eyes, this is all about grounding. The stomach meridian is all about grounding. And when this is usually the first thump that we do now, because many of us, we may not even know that we're ungrounded, or we may not even know that our polarities are off. But if you just thump these, it will help get you into that grounded state. Less worry, less stress, lots of good things. So the meridians really carry, it's like the circulation system, except it's the electromagnetic circulation system of the body. So all of your energies are traveling along the meridians. Let's see, anything else I can say about that? Let's just move on to the chakras. Everybody knows about the chakras, right? We've all heard of them. But what I didn't know before Donna was that you have the ability to work with them. And she has a very specific way of working with them, and I know that depending on the school of thought, there are more than the 7 chakras, but we really just work with the 7, which is the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and the crown chakra. And there are ways to test to see, is this chakra in balance or not? Does it need some clearing? Because they will spin. Our chakras come out from the body and in kind of a cone shape, and they actually go deep into the body. They also will express on the back as well, but they're not as large on the back, or they don't go out as far in the back as they do in the front. And does everybody know what each one represents, the chakras? So the root is our tribal, whatever tribe you're in, you can have a work tribe, you can have a family tribe, you can have your current family tribe, there are many tribal situations, so that is really our fundamental primal energy. Then the second chakra is the sacral chakra is more creative, where your little inner child lives, the one that wants to play and do lots of fun things. The third chakra is our solar plexus, which is how do we see ourselves in the world? It's kind of that power center. How am I seen? Where is my power? Those kind of things. So that's the third chakra. The fourth is the heart chakra, which we all know is about love. The fifth chakra is about the throat. How are we able to express ourselves? Do we express ourselves? Is there a kind of clamping up? And you can also test all of these to see if somebody is vulnerable in a particular chakra, to see if energy needs to be released. We call it like an oil change, okay? And I'll just show you how it's done. If I was to clear the third chakra, my body is a clock, so I would spin counterclockwise on that chakra to kind of clear congested energy. Yep, right there. And after I've done that enough, then I would spin it clockwise because that's putting new energy in. Counterclockwise is removing excess or stagnant energy, and clockwise is putting in fresh energy.
Are you saying counterclockwise from looking at the clock or looking at you?
My body is the clock, and your body is the clock. So if you're the clock, your 12 o'clock is here, your 3 o'clock, your 6 o'clock, your 9 o'clock. Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah. And chakras are, they are constantly exchanging information with the environment through the aura. It's bringing us to experiences that we need or would be beneficial to us. It's bringing us to those positive kinds of things. It's also storing all of our memories, all of our experiences. I mean, there is a lot of information that resides in the chakras. And there are 7 layers to the chakras as well, which is, the first is etheric, then it moves into morphogenic field, emotional field. Anyway, there are 7 layers. So there are 7 layers, 7 aspects to each chakra. The ones that are the furthest out here, where the edge of your aura would be, that's our current experience. That's the field of what our current day-to-day life is happening. What's happening closest in the body can be more ancestral. I mean, really going way back. So our bodies even hold that ancestral information within the chakras, within the body. So it's good to keep them not stagnant.
Do you see auras?
Pardon
Can
me?
you see auras?
I do not. I get the, and Donna has talked about it, it's like, because she sees everything, right? And because I've worked with tons and tons of students, some do see things, some get the messages tonally, and that's how I get them. It's like New York ticker tape. It's like the thought, not even the thought, words come in, and that's what directs my intuitive approach. And it's come in handy on a number of occasions because it's actually saved my life, where it's like, okay, look to the right now. But why? Wow! Those kinds of things. So but there's no emotion to it. It's just a flat word. And I also have a thing behind, I see behind the third eye. And especially when I'm doing like deep healing sessions, depending on what's happening, certain particular colors will show up. But I don't see out into the aura. Does anybody here have that ability or sense that they might? Anything like that? Pardon me?
I want it.
Yeah, right. So many of Donna's students will say that, it's like, but I want to see color, and she said, well, there are actually disadvantages to it.
I'm
And-
sure.
Yeah, because you can, and she said, I might forget your name, but I will never forget your energy. So, stating that each person's energy is absolutely as unique as a thumbprint, she says over and over again. So, where was I? You look like you had a comment, and then I, no? Now you see.
I do, but, not as great as Donna.
Yeah, you see things in people, and it's not the Eden energy aspect, but it's a more psychic kind of seeing. Anyway.
Now, are you saying you see the bindu, the light, the little
Yeah,
flash of light?
I get light especially when either I'm receiving deep healing or I'm giving deep healing. Right behind the third, I don't know what you call it, but right behind the third eye, it's like the most electric, I won't say indigo, but just an electric, bright blue. And, I can't conjure it up, it's like, I can't go, okay, blue light, okay, blue light, okay, let me get the blue light. I can't imagine it, So when it shows up, I know it's the real deal. And so my seeing experience is not gigantic. It's not, I can't see everything that's happening. But I do have that, I do know when it's good. So chakras, yes, they are wondrous. The aura, the aura.
You finished with throat, you want to go on with the other two?
Did you get this?
Never mind.
Is it, oh, okay. What did you say?
You stopped with the throat. Did you want to say anything more about the third eye and the crown?
The third eye. Oh, here's a thing for the third eye that Donna will always talk about because, the third eye, what is that? It's like she talks about there being pyramidal cells in this area, and that they can actually bend light. So it's like the light will come down through the crown chakra, and then it bends out here. You can look up pyramidal, like pyramidal cells at the third eye. And she always tells us, and I do know people, mine hasn't quite done this yet, I'm still behind the third eye, but she will talk about spinning a crystal every day. If you do this every day in front of the third eye, that it eventually can open up and people will start to see things, colors, things like that. And she uses not like a gemstone crystal, but just a pure, many-faceted glass crystal, because a glass crystal will not hold energy. So I could work on you, and I could work on you and you, and it won't hold on to that energy, which is a good thing. So it stays real clear, real clean. And I was actually doing this earlier today I was in the car, and the sun was coming in, and it's so magical. And I'm finding the sun, I'm in the car, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna spin this all over. I mean, it's like this, just like, the Emerald City in my car, as all the light just refracts in a million different ways. And that light comes right into our bodies. I mean, color is a very healing aspect with energy. So that is a fun thing. Oh yes, so that's the third eye. And then the crown chakra, this is an interesting thing. When you're clearing the crown chakra, on women, you do the same thing as you do on the body. You clear in a counterclockwise way, and then when you're adding, to clear out the stagnant, when you're adding energy, you're putting it in clockwise. On males, it's exactly the opposite. When you're clearing the male crown chakra, you're going clockwise, and then that's to clear it, and then to add new energy, you're going counterclockwise. The reason is women, yin, they pull their energy in from the earth. I mean, we have this connection with the earth. We all have the connection with the earth in terms of magnetic. Our feet, the surface of the earth is a north magnetic, and our feet are south. Okay, so it connects us to the earth. Women pull their energy up from the earth, men pull their energy down from the heavens. And in people, it will meet right at about the fourth chakra. And so, and you can also, as women, you can pull it all the way up, and men can pull it further down, but that's the natural flow of how the energy comes into the body. All right. The aura. The aura is our little energetic spacesuit. And we all know about auras, right? But you may not know how to keep it really fortified. And it's important that you be able to keep your aura fortified, because once again, the aura is like our protective suit as we encounter the world. And things can happen in the aura. You can have experiences that cause a tear, or you can get energy toxins within the system. And then when that happens, it's you all know when you feel really vulnerable, and like it might be around a certain person, like a certain person may affect you, or you feel particularly vulnerable, or you're a little bit wary of a particular situation or person or family member. It can be because the aura is not really operating at full capacity, and there are such easy fixes for it. The aura can also detach from the body, and when that happens, it's like energetic debris can get in between you and the aura. Let's just for kicks, we can test somebody's aura if they're game for it.
All right. I really want to know the color of my aura.
You what?
I really want to know the color of my aura.
It's purple.
I want it to be purple.
I really see purple.
I want it to be purple. I have this deep longing for a purple aura.
Well, there within the layers of the aura. Remember how I talked about that there are 7 different layers in the chakras. We also have 7 different layers that intersect. Layers around the body that intersect with those chakras, right? And Donna, this is a really fun thing. If she ever comes to town,
Right.
which she is.
She is.
Yeah.
She's coming the day after Thanksgiving, I believe, and she's going to be signing books at New Renaissance. And she will, if you bought a book there, what she loves to do is she will read your life color, and that is a fixed field. The colors in your aura can change.
If I just buy her book, she'll tell me my color.
There you go.
She'll tell you your color, but she'll tell you your life color, and your life color is a specific layer of the aura. Now, the aura can change colors all the time, right? But the life color never changes. And so that is a fixed color that sticks with you. Well, that's why it's called a life color. And I happen to know that mine is, it's a double life color. It's blue and violet. So and the life color indicates really what your life lessons are in this life. Purple would be a decent life lesson. I asked her the difference. I just was talking. I was working with her at the table just this couple days ago, and she was signing people's books, right? And she'll pick the colors. She'll look right at you, and she'll pick the colors, and then she'll write, "You are a salmon and a teal blue life color," And people, So then she doesn't tell you about that, but there are places where you can find the information. And somebody showed up as a purple life color, and I said, "What's the difference between violet and purple?" And she said, "Oh, well, violets they're learning a lot of lessons in life. By the time they're purple, they've learned a whole lot of lessons, and life is easier." So keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, and the the blue light color, I can tell you about that. The blue light colors are the nurturers of life. They're the mothers, and probably 40 years ago there were a lot more blue life colors, and then after a little while the violets started to come up, and they're the people that are on a spiritual quest in this life, and they really, that's really what drives them. Sometimes they don't have children, sometimes they do. But, so, that's, we were gonna test you.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna qualify a muscle just because we can and this is fun. So have you ever been muscle tested before?
Yes.
You have, okay, goody. All right, I'm gonna do just a general indicator test on you. And so I'm gonna have you, I'll just say meet my pressure, and when I say hold, you'll just hold. All right, and hold. Okay, I'm gonna disrupt that energy now. So I'm causing a little disruption, we'll see what happens, and hold.
It's weaker, but.
Yeah, she's holding on for dear life. What I can tell is I don't know. So now I'm gonna smooth out that energy like that, and we're gonna test again, and hold. All right, she's better. So how I would test her aura, we're just trying to see, where is it? Where is it located? And this is as simple as it is. We're gonna come right to her fingertips because your aura ideally should come at least to your fingertips. And hang on, keep holding and hold. And she's good. And so I'm just gonna check her a little bit beyond those fingertips. We'll see what happens. And hold. That should, okay, we'll come out a little bit more. And hold. Yeah, she's down. So her aura goes beyond her fingertips about 2 feet, which is great. When your aura is expanded like that, you feel better in the world. You feel like you can occupy your space in the world. If she were to not have tested strong here, and let's say she were to test weak here, her aura is a little collapsed in, and then sometimes the aura does it as a protective measure, like you may be sick, for example, and then the aura will come in a little bit closer while you're sick until you're back up to speed. But your aura's great. It's good.
We knew that about her.
You mentioned the space between the body and the aura.
Yes.
Yeah, so you mentioned, you tested for the distance in which it expands out for Angela. How about the distance between the body and the aura?
You mean, like if the aura's, it should be attached to the body, but sometimes it's not.
How do you test for that?
How do you test for
what?
that?
How do you test for that is what he's
I will
asking.
show you who feels like, okay, I'm just gonna ask for somebody who feels sometimes like you're fine during the day, life is good, nothing has happened, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, why do I just feel, oh. Anyone?
Yeah. Yeah, me.
Okay, so we'll just, we don't know what we're gonna find.
I know.
So we're just gonna try it, all right? All right, so I'm gonna qualify a muscle here first of all, general indicator. I'm gonna bring that forward a little bit and just hold when I say. Okay, hold. And I'm gonna disrupt that energy and hold. Yeah, she's very palpable with her. She can feel the difference. And hold. So how I would test for whether her aura is attached or not is I would just come, it's sort of like, just gonna sneak up on the body a little bit, and I'm just gonna pop my hand right here and hold. If she's okay there, I'm gonna come a little closer, pop and hold. So there's a something, and it's not, it's just a little bit. Let me just do one last test, okay? And hold. Can you feel your arm wanting to give?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel as strong as,
It actually hurts a little bit.
is that an injured shoulder?
No, not
No.
that I know of.
Okay, all right. So you can test for that, and mine used to have that separation, and that's how I That's how I came to discover that. And Donna has a detached aura often, and she's had people say, don't ever go skydiving because you'll fall right out of your aura, and then you're in serious trouble. But, you know, I can't tell for sure, but here's how you would fix it.
Sounds like it's from illness, like from, okay, go ahead.
No, it's really not. I wonder if I tested you once. Sometimes a person's aura can be way out there. I mean, way expanded. And then you come into the body and it goes down because they may have a huge presence, but there's a vulnerability right there. I think yours was about 30 feet out on both sides, as I recall. But
In psychic class, they always used to say, pull in your aura, Dan.
So there are some, here's a real simple fix for it. And let's just do it and no, stay here. We'll just do it together. There's a couple of fixes for it, but here's a real simple one. And that is, let's see, do you have a song you'd like to sing?
Well, you are my sunshine.
Okay, let's do that. So we're gonna weave figure eights on the sides of the body right here. And we're gonna sing, you are my sunshine,
Have fun.
my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Is that the right song? Please don't take my sunshine away. And now let's just come back in and we'll do the little test.
Try the other shoulder.
And hold. Spring. And one more. And let that arm come down just a little bit. And hold. It's good and strong.
Yeah.
So just that little bit can fortify her system.
That's great.
And we're going to learn, I think we're going to learn the Celtic weaving here.
Yeah,
Say
it's
it
in
so.
there. Yeah, it's in there. On the back.
All right, we're going to learn the Celtic weave. That's another great one to do if your aura detaches. Yeah. So one of the things that we do to help fortify the aura is called the zip up, and we'll get to that in a minute. But that's really just coming right up central meridian, right up the body to right beneath the lower lip. And I'll explain a little bit more about that, but that is really that's a good fortification. And then coming up, governing meridian, which comes up and over the head. They actually meet at the back of the throat, but if you zip up like that, you just zip like that, that fortifies the aura.
Can
All
you show
right.
that again? Sorry.
Say that
Can
again.
you show that again?
Show that again. The whole zip up is coming straight up central meridian to right beneath the lower lip. And then the sacrum, then you come up, start at the tailbone, come straight up the midline of the body. Touch if you can, straight over the midline of the head to the upper lip. And we always lock it and throw away the key. So that's a very good fortification to do. Okay, here I'll tell you a story. When I was working in a corporate world, there was a woman I had to talk to every day, and I'm trying to say, how can I say this, in a nice way? She would always I would always get a zinger from her. You know, those people that just want to give you a zinger. And so after I learned this, I was like, oh, wow, this will protect me from that. So I would zip up, and then I could go to her cube and say, okay, so what's happening today? It was no problem. But then there were some times when I had forgotten to do the daily routine, or I hadn't done it, and I'm at her cube, or I'm right about there, and I'm like, oh no, I forgot to zip up, and I know it's going to come my way, because that's one of those things that make me feel kind of caved in. And so I go to her cube, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm here and I haven't zipped up. And so I would just stand there and go, did you have a good weekend? And she'd say, yeah, I had a good weekend. And I said, yeah, well, it was pretty good. I filled the garden a lot. I mean, it was just something that was like, yes, and so then I would be okay. And then I know it sounds like, oh really, how can it be that powerful? It's that powerful. it really can be that helpful to you
Yeah.
when you've got that aura zipped up.
Yeah, because I've been doing a lot of work, and the more work I do, the more like energetically I feel like I get impacted by others, which is kind of interesting. And so there's certain people I kind of avoid because I consider them like energy vampires.
Yeah,
Like they like suck your energy from you.
yeah,
And so I just avoid these people because I feel like they zap my life energy, and is that what you would do?
yeah, that's what you would do. That's something that can really help fortify that field so that, you don't have that experience. We should be able to, and if you think about it, if my aura, here, put your fingers up all the way. So now come to the front of your body. I mean, our auras are intersecting all the time, and if you're talking to somebody this close, I mean, which is a normal distance, our auras are intersecting all the time. And so, making sure that yours is, this is a good thing to fortify it, the zip up. And you don't have to do it just once a day. I mean, it's so easy to do. You want to be a little demo person again, just for kicks? All right. This is how we test to see if somebody is zipped up, and you can let me know how this feels. And we've qualified that muscle, so I think we're okay. So I'm just going to stand over here, and I'm just going to look you down. And hold. How is that feeling? It's what, yeah. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to look you up. And hold. It's much stronger on the, I can feel the difference between those two. So Donna was talking about, was it Bobby Fischer a million years ago, some chess game?
Yes.
And she was watching it, I think, on TV, and she said she could see, was it the opposing side, the Russian team, she could see them like looking down, looking down Bobby Fischer, because when you are unzipped, when you don't have a strong central meridian, you can be vulnerable. I mean, are you okay if I just take it down for a second? Okay. You can just take it down like that and hold.
Oh.
And then I can just lift it up like that and hold. So, it's that fast, and it's that direct, and it's that easy.
Okay.
So in Qigong, we do like a microcosmic orbit, which is really...
Right, that's what it is.
Yeah, and you're
Yep.
putting your tip of your tongue, so you keep it going, so you're constantly
Right.
running the energy
Right.
around. And it's a similar...
Yep,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Okay.
So, that's very good. And then we always kind of joke, what martial arts where, is there an approach? I don't know martial arts at all, but it's sort of like, okay, I can take you down while I lift myself up. Is there something like that out
There's
there?
actually a Chi Sao movement where you connect with somebody else's energy, or that's probably Tai Chi, which is more of an internal art, but it's also a
Which
fighting
reminds
art.
me, energy medicine that Donna has seen and created comes from several disciplines, yoga being one of them, Qigong. I think it lists all the different things, and then of course traditional Chinese medicine, all wrapped up into one way of working with the body's energies. So yes, aura. It's
Is there a way to recuperate after talking to someone who's an energy vampire?
Zip
You
up.
don't zip up ahead of time?
yeah, there is a way. If you're not quite fortified, we call it the blowout. And here's what we can practice it. Do you guys want me to stand up and practice it? And this is like getting just excess energy. This is good if you're angry. This is good if you've taken on some, or have been exposed to some energy that you would just as soon not have. This is what it is. You take your hands and you're just scooping everything through the aura like this. You're going to put your fists right behind your shoulders here, and then you're going to throw it down with a sharp shh, and again, shh, and again, shh. One more time. Shh. And
then one time, really slow, we just grab the energy like this and throw it down with a shh. And if you do that and then zip up, that gets rid of whatever those excess energies are that you don't really need at the moment, and then just fortifies you. And you know, it's not like it's like the detached aura. Like Donna says, it's not that anyone's throwing negative stuff in there. It's just that it becomes a collection. It's just, and you know, even when we don't get along with somebody, you know, you see them for the first time and you're just like, I don't know. You know, we have that sense. There's nothing wrong. It's just energy. The energies at the moment are just not in sync for whatever reason. And they may be in sync later. We don't necessarily know. But at that moment, it's not like it's bad energy. It's just different than what you need right at this moment. So try to keep it positive. I try to keep it positive. Yeah. All right, so that's the blowout. So does that help you?
Yes.
In terms of ways to get rid of that excess?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, what system are we on now? Oh, you know, it says right here, I'm sorry, back on the oars, it's like an antenna that leads us to experiences that we need. The basic grid. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because the grid is it's one of the advanced protocols that you do after you've gone through 4 years of studying. And the reason the grid is actually we have a like a building has a internal structure. We have an internal structure that all of the other energy systems hang on, and that is our grid. And it crosses over, but it's also got it's got 2 front grids and 2 crossed in the front. It's got 2 back grids and 2 crossed in the back. And so it is a real, when you have a grid that's broken, and probably a lot of people do, if you've had an accident or if you've had a big shock, if you've had a difficult childhood, or you've had you know, some kind of big event that was traumatic for you, oftentimes that will break a grid. And you can, it's like a broken leg. I was working on somebody the other day, and she had broken her shin bone when she was a kid, but they didn't put it back together. They put it back together like this. So her shin was, you know, as it came up right down here by the front of her body, her shin was like a big dip before the other bone connected. And that's kind of like what a grid is when it's broken. It's like an earthquake on a highway. It can just separate that grid. And then when that happens, like I said, you can still function and life can still be okay, but if you could get that put back together, it can sometimes really shift your energies and what happens in your life for the better.
How do you put it back together again?
You go to 4 years of energy medicine. You hold very specific points and you test for what those points are. And once you hold those points, the rules of the grid are the practitioner, as they feel the energy, they can't let go of the points until it goes all the way through. I mean, so you stay there however long you need to stay there. Could be 20 minutes, it could be 3 hours. You just don't know what's going to show up with a grid. And I have had them go as long as 3 hours. I heard about one that went 7 hours once. I can't imagine. That would be hard. So anyway, but I have had them go as long as 3 hours. And then I have also had them, you know, short, 20, 30 minutes. It just depends. But there's a way that you feel the energy go through the body so that you know it's connected. And it can go out again, but once it's put in, for the most part, unless you have something big happen, it usually stays. And on rare occasion, you can have a shattered grid where it's, you know, a lot of different pieces. And so, you know, it's just it's using, if I was working on somebody that had a broken grid, it's like using my body to reconnect their grid, just for that moment, and then it's over, yeah.
So you need a practitioner to do that for you, like you can't?
Yeah, you need a practitioner to do a grid.
Do you do that?
Say that again?
Do you do that?
I do grids, yeah.
How would you know when basic grid has a problem?
Say that one more
How
time.
would you know if the basic grid has a problem with this
Uh,
symptoms?
It's a simple energy test. It's a simple energy test. You test for this grid, and then you test for this grid, then you test whether, and it's an arm-leg thing. Then you test whether this one is off, whether this one is off, and then you do the same thing on the back. So there are 8 grids, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Donna says that, pardon me?
I'll let you finish and then I'll ask.
Donna says that the 4 in the front are this lifetime kind of grid. The 4 in the back can be a past lifetime. Some people don't believe in that. It is what it is. So she says this is current life, this is past life. So,
What percentage of people have a broken grid? Is that very common?
I'm not sure if I can even say a percentage, because not everybody that has a broken grid is going to come to you. Usually when you get a grid repaired, you've been working with a practitioner for a while, let's say. All the other systems are balanced, because it's important for the other systems to be balanced so that when that grid gets plugged back together, it can hold. So sometimes it's like when you've worked with somebody for a while, all the systems seem to be holding, you retest, everything's solid, but there's something still not quite right, is a way I would put it. And so then I would go into test of the grid. And it's a simple test. Besides the muscle tests, you say boo to somebody, and if they go weak on that boo, then you know that there's a grid out, and then you can start to test. Then you can what?
Do it.
No. There's a lot of rules around grid. There's a lot of rules
It's
around it.
advanced.
You know,
Not for a
the
basic class.
Say that again.
It's advanced, it's not for an intro class.
Right, yeah, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna teach you the 5-minute routine.
You know, and all the studies now are showing that, and you know, I'm not so sure that it's actually in the DNA, but they're saying that you can carry traumas through generations through DNA.
Right.
That's things they're finding now, and you know, I don't know that I'm convinced it's DNA, if not so much energy that's coming through, and they're testing it as DNA.
We watched the most amazing film on DNA, and I don't even, come on in.
No, she just needs to get her mail.
We couldn't do this washer.
No.
We watched an amazing film, and it was theoretically, it looked like it was animated, because it was magnified, what, 1,000,000 times or something. But as you would watch it in motion, and as it would like reach for exactly what it needed, and then place it right over there, and then reach over there and place it there, and it was like this amazing dance. I can't even describe it very well, but I do believe that it can carry all of that ancestral information.
Yeah, have you talked to people, like, I've known for many years that I process a lot for my family. I have 9 siblings,
Yeah.
and they don't. And it's like, why is it that I carried that, and I'm
What do you
processing for
carry?
my family?
You're processing for the family.
Yeah, I can see myself processing for the generations before me, and so when these studies came out, it was like, oh, okay, you know,
Yeah.
that just sucks.
And don't think you're making that up either, because it's a real thing. It's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
I saw a practitioner in Ashland once, and she's one of Donna's oldest practitioners, and I have not 9 siblings, there are 9 kids in the family, so I have 8 siblings. But she said, and I don't have children of my own, but I keep raising a few others. And so she said, you're the one processing
you know, those ancestral things and, you know, taking it to a different direction. And, you know, I'm like, really? And so I understand what you're talking about. And yeah.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. Lucky you, ding, ding, ding. All right, where are we? That's right. The Celtic weave, okay, this is the Celtic weave. It says the body's energy spin, spiral, curve, twist, crisscross, and weave themselves into the patterns of magnificent beauty. And you know, you can read about this. In the East, it's been called the Tibetan energy ring. And we know the yoga symbol as well. The Celtic weave, okay, what have we talked about tonight? We've talked about chakras, we've talked about the aura, we've talked about the grid. What else have we talked about? We've talked about the meridians. The Celtic weave ties all of those systems together. So the Celtic weave, and a few more. So the Celtic weave is really vital for holding the integrity of all of your energy systems. And when on Janelle, when we corrected that, the Celtic weave is also really good for bringing that aura back onto the body.
Yeah.
And so I always say that the Celtic weave, when I was just learning energy medicine, really saved me, because there were times when you know, we're talking about that energy where you feel like something just happened, but there was no incident, you know, where your energy just starts to, I would feel yucky. And I could feel myself, you know, start to tank. I'm like, oh man, I gotta do the Celtic weave here. And it might take 10 minutes, but I would do a couple of Celtic weaves, and then I could feel my system, I could feel it start to spin back up to, okay, I'm okay now, I'm good, everything was good. And it was, so that was just my own little private Idaho experience, because because I felt that sagging, and sometimes it could be emotional. It could be like a wave of depression hits you, or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical, where you feel it manifestations in the body. It can be an emotional sagging, and then that Celtic weave can bring it back on board. So it's vital and it's fun to do. I'll just tell you that. And when it talks about the Tibetan rings, I'll just tell you a little bit about this, even though it's not delineated out as an energy system, I don't think. It's like everything in your body crosses over. I mean, there's from the back of your head to the front, from your forehead back, front of the body back, back of the body front. At the ankles, everything crosses over. Knees cross over. Everything is crossing over. Inside the leg to outside foot. Hip to inside foot. Front to back, and back to front. So there are all of these crossovers in the body. And sometimes when you can't, when the Tibetan rings are out and there's a way to test them, you may only have one out. You may be functioning in every other way. Let's just say you have a shoulder pain that you can't ever quite shake. Sometimes you can have somebody test for the Tibetan rings. You go on to fix that with the pattern, and it'll do the trick. And it's I've also heard it referred to as what is the 1,000 points of light? It's like little twinkle lights. The energy is like little twinkle lights in the body, but it's also all about the gazillion crossovers in the body that we have. All right, 5 rhythms. Oh, this is one of my favorite topics. And I'll just read that first line. It says your meridians, which we talked about, your chakras, your aura, and other essential energies are influenced by a more pervasive energy system. And she says it's not a separate energy, but it's really an energy that runs through everything else. And the 5 elements it's ancient, and it's such an elegant system, and it incorporates everything in life. If you look outside right now, in nature we have the water, we have the earth, we have the wood coming up, we have hopefully the fire, and then we've got, what's the last one? Metal. And so all of those elements really inform everything. It informs our meridians. The meridians are attached to a certain element. And when you're working with those meridians, you can also look at it elementally. We also have psychological, the elements also show psychological inclinations, let's call it, personality types really. And so water, the two meridians involved in water are like kidney and bladder, right? So both of those organs deal with water. And water is very powerful, but it can also be difficult to contain. So there are many aspects of water. Water can be frozen, water can carve through mountains. Kidney meridian, which starts at the bottom of the foot, which is the wellspring of life point right here, right at the ball of the foot. The wellspring of life point is a really key point because the kidney meridian, which starts at the bottom of the foot and ends right here, is all about your life force and your will. So when somebody has a kidney that's a little, and it doesn't necessarily mean the organs. It can mean the organs, but it can also just mean the meridian itself. When the kidney meridian is sagging a little bit, let's just say, or it's under-energized, it doesn't have enough energy really running through it. People can lack will, they can lack oomph, they can just lack that drive to press forward. If you can get that kidney strong, if you can really fortify the kidney meridian, that life force comes back on board. And so that's the water element. Water can be, and then like I said, it can be frozen, it can be hard, it can be carved through mountains, and it can also, if I poured this cup of tea on the floor, it just would spill out all over it. It's hard to contain. Water people tend to be extremely deep thinkers, okay? They can also be they can have a little entitlement. They show up as entitlement with like a little kid that wants its way. And what's another aspect of the water element? They can be a little bit indecisive. A lot of times, Donna has said that if water elements, they're full of creative ideas. They've got ideas just coming up like this nonstop, lots and lots of ideas. But if they don't have someone to really support that or provide a container for them, it's difficult for them to move forward in life. So, you may have recognized that in yourself or someone else you know. That's the energy of water. Pardon me?
Sounds like visionaries.
Yes, they can be visionary, that's true. They can be a philosopher. They think the deep thoughts, and it's like that energy in winter where, the ground is quiet and silent and not much is happening, but there's so much happening under the surface of the water and under the surface of the earth. So that's that water energy. It's like champagne bubbles just percolating up all the time, percolating. Then spring comes, that's the season of winter. Then spring comes, which is wood energy, and that force that pushes plants right through the dirt. That's what's known as the wood element. And those are the people that are, it's like, come on, let's just get it done. I don't want to talk about it, let's just take action. They want to take action, they're very deliberate. We'll move on to the fire element, which is summer. Now summer after spring, everything is blossomed and the leaves have come out. That takes a certain kind of forceful energy. Then fire happens, and when you think about a fire is here, then it's there, then it's there. I mean, it hops around all over the place. And when fire, that energy there, the life of the party. They love the party. They have a hard time saying no. It's like, oh, yes, they'll say. Then all of a sudden they've got everything full, and then they go into panic because they can't do it all. So that's kind of personality-wise how they show up. Whereas a wood, with their determination, what they don't really want to, when they have how should I say this, an imbalance, that can show up as anger. And the two meridians on wood are liver and gallbladder, and gallbladder is like outwardly directed anger, liver is more inwardly directed anger. And then fire has 4 elements, or 4 meridians.
What about earth? Because I think I'm earth.
Earth, those are the people that take care of everybody else and not themselves.
Oh, no,
So they're always worried about you. Are you okay? Do you have anything? How about you? You're okay too, right? Wait, I have something that'll help you. Let me just give it to you. I know this is gonna help you, okay?
Okay, what's metal then?
She's like, I'm gonna pick my element. I definitely know one of the earth. But they are loving, and they are the, what's the word? They are the
Earth mama.
mediators. They're the mediators, and so they're very generous and loving, but sometimes they get fatigued, worn out, because they don't take care of themselves like they should when they're out of balance. When they're in balance, all is well in the world. And then the metal, the last one, metal, those are the people that are highly organized. They think in, they like to have everything planned way ahead of time. A fire can pull it together at the last minute. Let's have a party, you know? But
Can you hear metal? I'm going like, no, this doesn't sound like me.
yeah, the metals, they want to have a list. I want to plan it ahead of time. Don't give me any surprises. And if you're going to make a change, I need to know long ahead of time so that
Everybody's looking at me.
How do you know which one you are?
I already knew I was a metal.
Yeah.
Acid pressure school.
Did you? Okay.
I don't think I'm metal.
I have a couple of
And you can also be a combination of things, you know. You're not necessarily just one element. A lot of times we show up with a couple of strong elements. We
Yeah.
theoretically have all the elements to a certain degree. I always say that I have no wood, or had no wood, you know, because it was like, I was more of a water person, and I would always joke and say, I can't make that phone call. I don't want to open my mail. I'm afraid of my mail. You know, I mean, it's that, and the emotion of water is their kind of fear. They've got that fear, trepidation going in. It's like, what do you want?
Spiritual.
You know, it's what?
It's also spiritual, right? Isn't that spiritual energy, water?
Sure.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Sure it is.
Let's do.
But I think also, even if you're innately metal, you know what you innately are, and if you're doing work, you look at that to balance yourself against yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and when you start to look at when you start to look at it, I mean, metals get driven crazy by like fires, because a metal wants to know ahead of time. So a
Exactly.
fire
I
is
wanna
like,
know when
oh,
they
come on,
get
let's just
back
come
to my
together
unit.
right now. And it's like, I can't even deal with you because they just there's a beautiful system to it. It's like water feeds wood. I'm just drawing the little imaginary picture, okay? We've got water, winter right here. Water feeds wood so that wood can grow. Wood feeds fire so that fire can burn. Fire burns and creates ashes so that earth can be built. Earth compresses and creates metal so that compresses earth to create metal, and then that metal mineralizes water. So that's what the flow cycle is like. One feeds the other in a complete circle.
Fire and earth over here.
But how do you know which one you are?
Well, you're apparently partially metal. Marlo.
Only because you like to plan your trips, that's all that was coming from our conversation the other day.
You could be a metal earth, let's say.
With some wood. With some wood.
I think you're a bit of earth.
You could be a metal
I
earth.
do.
You
But
know?
I'm earth, definitely.
You have
Yeah.
some earth, yeah?
I think
Okay.
so.
But I was just wondering if there was like actually a system for finding this out. There's not.
There are systems you can take.
Okay, I was like.
You can
Oh,
observe, you can observe
You
other
can
people,
read a
you can
book.
observe the people that drive you crazy. I mean, if you're a metal and somebody's just like winging it at the last minute and then they change their mind and then they're all over the map like a fire can be. Or they're so happy and joyful all the time, it's like, quit it, quit would you quit smiling so much, or something like that, you know, and where there's something that just goes against the grain. Okay, wait, I want to tell you this, and this will help you understand a little bit. So I gave you the whole water feeds, wood feeds, you know, all of these things. Here's the control cycle. Water squelches fire, right? Fire melts metal. Metal chops wood. Wood dams up earth, and then earth creates mud with water. So that's another aspect of how to look at the elements. So when you have somebody that, okay, I remember being in a meeting and we were trying to actually it was a group of people, we were trying to actually accomplish something, all right? And there was a woman that would come in, and just as somebody would say something, she'd crack a joke, and then she'd laugh at her own joke, you know? And it's like, okay, all right. And then somebody would say another sentence, and then she'd crack another joke, and then start laughing at it. It was like she was in her own universe, her own world. And you know, after about the 8th time, it's like, just stop, all right? Just stop with the jokes. And I felt this kind of agitation with her, and I realized after a time that it was just that she was an out of balance fire. And once I had recognized that, the beauty of it is that once you recognize that, what people's elements are, you can just relax and feel compassionate. Because it's like, oh, it's just a little fire imbalance. I don't need to worry about it, and I don't even need to judge it. So anyway, that all ties in, and really went on a long detour with the 5 rhythms, so let's keep going here.
And that's what 5-element acupuncture is based on, 5-element acupuncture.
5 rhythms, 5 elements,
Yeah.
they all kind of tie together. Here's one that's very applicable to us, the triple warmer. Triple warmer is our meridian it's a system of its own. It is our fight, flight, freeze mechanism. And all of us in America probably have a pretty overcharged triple meridian. And it's just that, triple warmer is a meridian that doesn't really care if you're happy, doesn't care if you're on your soul's journey, doesn't really care about any of that. All triple warmer is like a commander in the army. It's like, are you breathing? Is your blood moving? Is everything, the heart's pumping? It's all good, right? I don't care if you're happy, but all the other systems are on board. So triple warmer will often take energy from other meridians. The reason why we look at triple warmer as a system is because it takes energy from spleen meridian, and when it does that, we lose some of our immune function, and it makes us more prone to illness. So one of the things that we're often doing in energy medicine is sedating the triple warmer, which is tracing it backwards, taking energy out. And here's a handy little thing if you really feel stressed, to just smooth behind your ears, because you're taking some of the energy out of triple warmer. Triple warmer starts at the ring finger, comes up this way when it's flowing in its direction. So if you just smooth behind the ears, it'll take a little bit of that pressure off, a little bit of that stress out of your moment. And so that's triple warmer meridian. We're always sedating triple warmer. You can also use acupuncture points, but there are many ways to work with it. Okay, radiant circuits. Radiant circuits, that's the system number 8. The radiant circuits, you know how we talked about the meridians have very specific pathways, and in most people, they're exactly the same. The radiant circuits are like flows. They're more ancient actually than the meridians. And they're flows that are all about creating joy and having joy in your life. So they have a kind of path, but they jump to wherever they're needed. So when you connect up a radiant circuit, it can jump right in. This is what's responsible for spontaneous healing. When you've known someone that all of a sudden something spontaneous, they're okay, it's because the radiant circuits have stepped on board. And so we do a lot of things to really juice those radiant circuits. Dancing anything that's joyful and playful that you love doing, or laughing or singing, all of those things that can charge you in a joyful way, that really amps up your radiant circuits. And what is the last one? The electrics. The electrics were nothing if not electrical, right? And so, when they talk about the heart energy, the heart is the most electrical organ, and doesn't the energy go out about 16 feet? So it's going from me to you. My heart, the heart energy reaches all that distance, and it's the most dense energy in the body, but it's also involved in every single cell in the body, because every single cell has a current. So the electrics are their own system. And that is the brief review of what's involved in the 9 energy systems. And so now we're going to play a little bit. We're going to learn a daily routine. This is a 5-minute routine that you can do every single morning, in the shower, wherever. And Donna has said that when people, what's incorporated in the daily 5-minute routine balances out 95% of your energies. So if you can just make this a habit, and now, what Lauren is teaching is, doing yoga while doing this routine, so you're incorporating both. It's really brilliant, and incorporating both at the same time. So hopefully everybody has one. We're just going to go through, we're just going to learn it, because we can.
Isn't that the thing that you talked about doing for the last 5 years, and then ran into this lady who was doing it? Isn't
What?
that this, doing the yogic moves with...
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you ran into Lauren, who was
That-
over
yeah.
there. Oh, okay.
That was her vision for all these years that I've known her. She
Yeah.
would talk about it every other day, it seemed like. And
But
Wanting to incorporate it.
Lauren's just doing it for teaching teachers, yoga teachers
Teaching
only.
teachers, right.
So we gotta find somebody who will teach
She
us
does.
lay people.
Yeah, she does us as like an omega and stuff for non-yoga teachers.
People are using energy medicine now, this energy medicine, in cancer hospitals. They're using it in veterans hospitals for PTSD.
Oh,
They're using it in so many different arenas now. And if you, I'm trying not to be disrespectful. Western medicine is absolutely essential, but it may not. And when you need something repaired, and Donna just said this the other day because something happened. I'm not sure what, but she was like, David said, in the last 2 years, Western medicine has saved our lives, because he had a gallbladder that basically he had zero pain. And one day he got sick and was like, man, I better go to the emergency room. Went to the emergency room, and his gallbladder was so ill that it actually had gangrene. And they said he probably had 24 hours, But he had never once, because he does the daily routine, he had never once experienced any pain with it at all. And so, but in the meantime, this is something that you can do on yourself, that you don't have to have somebody else do on you, that will really bring all of those systems into balance. The aura, the chakras, the meridians, the radiant circuits, all of these things that help us navigate better in the world, because our energies are balanced. So let's do it. The first one is the 3 thumbs, which has now become the 4 thumbs. Okay, and we say it's called the 4 thumbs because now we start with stomach, which is grounding. That's the very first point that we thumb. So when you wake up in the morning, just quickly going through these thumbs, so that grounding is really so vital for us, and it anti-inflames us. It takes down inflammation, helps us keep our head on our body, all of that. The next point is K27, and if you don't know where it is, if you come to the collarbone and there's a little bone right here, and if you come down an inch and out about a ½ an inch, there's kind of a soft area. Everybody's sternum is a little bit different. And those points are the end of the kidney meridian. I'm just looking at you right now and thinking those points are maybe a little right there. Okay. Anyone questioning where their K27s are at?
Yeah.
Yep? Okay.
So we just come to that little bony part right there, come down an inch and in, you were right on, right there. Yep, you had them. Let's see. Right there.
Do you have to hit them at the same
Yep,
time?
right about there.
Is it okay?
Can you
if
feel those?
do
What?
the Opposite?
Say that
Because
again.
I want to go like this. Is that bad?
If you follow your internal sense, because that's a good thing to do. The next point is the thymus, which is, there's kind of the bone can sometimes stick up right where the thymus is. Yeah, he's doing it the Tarzan way, and that's our immune system. And we all do it that way
It's the
sometimes when we're having
thymus
fun.
thump, right?
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
And the thymus gland, which is like one of the primary glands for your immune system. As you get older, it starts to shrink a little bit. And this is one way to keep it plumped up and juicy, is by giving that a good thump. This is also great for, there's a book called, by John Diamond, and he wrote all about the thymus gland and emotion and music. And you know about that, huh? Yeah. And it's like, if you are in an emotional state, music can change it for the better really quickly, and it comes through the thymus gland, or that's the organ that's affected, or the gland that's affected. The last one is spleen. Now we love to thump our spleens because triple warm. This is like keeping spleen vital. And spleen, it's important because spleen is part of the immune system, and triple warmer is always ripping it off, you know? So we want to keep that spleen really strong. And it runs a band, kind of, the neurolymphatics run from here all the way to the side, so you can thump all around this area. But thumping the spleen can really keep you healthier. Those are the 3 thumps, and it will explain in here why all of that is important. The next thing is the cross crawl. The cross crawl, because everything in our body should cross, in our mind should cross over energetically. The cross crawl, remember how I demonstrated if you're walking through the world like this, it's not very efficient. And so the cross crawl is a way of reinforcing that. And before we start, I could test somebody if they're feeling not particularly like they don't have energy, they don't feel that good right now.
Sure.
All right, what the heck, right? All right. So we're going to qualify a muscle first. Just bring it out to the side and hold. And disrupt that energy and hold. Oh, very good tester. And hold. So this is how I would know whether he might be crossed over, he might not be. I'm going to take an X like this. You're going to look at this and just hold that pattern in your mind, like a big railroad sign. And hold. Got a little give, but we're going to test it this way now, like with the 2 parallel lines, railroad tracks running on forever. We'll see what happens. And hold. Well, that one's stronger right now. And it's not big, weak, and big, strong, but I can tell the difference. So here's how we correct that, or here's how we fortify. And you're just going to cross over, and you want to cross over the midline of the body, so opposite hand and knee.
You're done too.
All right, don't sit down yet, I'm going to
Yeah,
test you,
yes.
see what
Okay.
happened,
Okay.
see if anything shifted. And if this makes you really tired, there's a good chance you're homolateral. If you do a few of these and it's like, oh, I'm tired, it means you need more of it. So that's good enough.
You need more of it?
It means you need more,
Okay.
and that the body is in a homolateral
Okay.
state. So we're just going to retest now. Take a look at that X, hold that in your mind, and hold. And now the parallel line's running on, and hold. Yeah, then there's a difference, it's switched the other direction now.
Is that
Yeah.
good?
It's good, it's good. So, and you don't have to do this, you know,
If this is exhausting to you, you don't have to do it standing up. You can do it sitting down. You can do it a lot of different ways. Sometimes I like to do it laying in bed, nice and lazy, no gravity involved, right? And that's a good recommendation if somebody is very ill and they just don't have the energy to do this. You know, sometimes it's too much. So doing it while you're lying down, at least while you're bringing your energy system back on board is a good way to do it. All right. See, and all of these beautiful things are going to be incorporated in the yoga. I'm teaching foundations that week, or I would love to have gone, because I think what Lauren is doing is fantastic. The homolateral crossover. I'm just going to show it to you. We're not all going to do it. All right. And here's what it is. When someone has been very chronically ill for quite some time, they are almost certainly in a homolateral not crossing over. But to coax yourself out of that is a little bit of a slower game. So what we do is we give the body a little bit of what it wants. It's used to homolateral, the body is formed to habit around homolateral, the body is comfortable and functioning with homolateral. So we do that 12 times, then we cross over. And we try to coax it in the other direction. We'll repeat that pattern 2 more times. Cross, dozen times, straight, dozen times, then cross a dozen times. And I know this seems exhaustive, but we're going to do it 1 more time with the parallel, give the body what it's used to right now, give it what it's used to. Then we cross over again. Okay, we're at 50-50. We did half of this, and we did half of this. Now when we're finished with that, we do 1 more crossover. So it's sort of like 60% in favor of the cross, 40% giving the body what it's used to. But that really doesn't show up unless somebody has been depressed for many, many years, or has been in a chronic state of either emotional ill health or physical ill health for a long time. So for right now, just the cross crawl.
I've been practicing that because I'm doing Lauren's program before the training.
Yeah.
She talks about doing the,
Homolateral.
yeah. And there's been times when my body doesn't want to do that. It just wants to just go into the cross.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do these too.
No, if you ever feel like, that's too much, just stop.
Yeah.
Because there's no need to push it in that direction.
Yeah.
And you go, such relief, because your body is already entrained in the right way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was pretty interesting to witness that,
Yeah.
that shift.
yeah,
So.
that's good. You're balanced. Okay, these are very simple things to do. The Wayne Cook was created by Wayne Cook for kids who stutter. Okay, and so this is something, we call it the de-scrambler. So this is a great thing for kids and us. Like, do you ever find yourself, you're at the keyboard and all of a sudden you're switching the order of the letters, or
Constantly.
you're saying word, you'll use a different beginning of a word to attach, and do you know what I'm saying? You just feel a little scrambled, and this is a real simple way to unscramble, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. It's called the Wayne Cook. So you're just going to take one leg and cross it over the other knee, all right? Now you're going to take the opposite hand, smack it right on top of that ankle. Now reach the other hand over the ball of the foot. You want to try to, nice straight feet here, you want to try to have your hand covering both K1 and the bladder meridian runs along here, which is the nervous system. So you're just going to grab right along the ball of the foot like that. And then we just bring that leg while we breathe, and you bring the shoulders up in the leg. Inhale through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. You could do it a few more times if you wish, but now we'll just switch legs just for learning purposes. Cross over that ankle, reach around the foot, and I'm just looking at you right here. Yeah, there you go. That's the right hand. Oh, you're on the other side. Okay, gotcha. So
you'll put your left hand over your right ankle. There you go, yeah. And then we'll just pull up and breathe in. And you should switch hands there. Perfect. Now bring your fingertips together and place your thumbs right at the third eye. We're going to take in a few deep breaths, and this is just really calming to the system and will help unscramble those things that have gone, that feel a little dyslexic, either in your hands or in your words or in your body. And it helps dyslexia too. Now just curl your fingertips in to the forehead, just like that. And then just stretch it across all the way to the temple. That's taking some pressure off the triple molar. Does that feel good to you guys? That exercise? Yeah. That's the little unscrambler. The next is the crown pull. When you're taking in too much information, like a night like tonight, we all really need a crown pull because it's been hectic. We're taking in lots of information. And a crown pull is kind of separate. It's creating space in between the plates so that energy can move. Sometimes if you have a headache even, crown pull can pull you out of that. And here's how you do it. Just take your little fingers, put them right to the eyebrow, and then just pull across all the way to the temples and just shake it off. Now you're going to reach, we're going to do it all along the midline, but I just reach up under the hair, little fingers at the hairline now, and separate and pull apart. And all down the midline. Back of the head. Creating space so that you can take in new and fresh energy. And then when you get to the neck, also do the neck and just stretch apart right there. The base of the skull and then lower on the neck. And then we're going to move into a triple warmer thing. Just put your hands on either side, and that muscle that always wants attention, always wants a little bit of something, just squeeze it, give it a good squeeze. Take a couple of breaths. And then you're just going to dig in your fingers and drag them over your shoulders and shake it off. And that's a crown pull. Does Lauren do that in the yoga thing? Does anybody know?
She does. She said at the end of or after Shavasana, so we do the crown pull,
You do the crown pull.
down, and you bring it over.
Yeah, and you can always end with the hands on the heart chakra. Kind of brings you home to yourself. All right, then we've got neurolymphatic massage right here. And I can quickly go through all of these, but it probably looks like a chart that's like, oh no, how am I going to learn all of those? But let's just do it. The neurolymphatics, they connect with your lymph system, and they are like reflex points. They're not actually, they're like reflex points that send messages to the lymph system to tell it to move, shift, drain. So the K27s, of course, here's how we would do it, and we're just going to do it quickly because it doesn't take very long. Start with the K27s, and then just massage deeply all underneath that collarbone. And if you're really tender, you really need it because it'll really help move some of the toxins and through the body. So we've come all under the collarbone. Now let's come right here to these points here. We call it the Raggedy Ann doll, where your arm would be stitched to your body if you were a Raggedy Ann doll. And I love these points. This is also about central meridian. If you feel vulnerable, these are good points to really work. You know, sometimes we naturally, just like you're doing, sometimes we naturally do this thing, right? And when you do that, that's kind of helping you feel a little more solid within yourself, not so vulnerable. Then we've worked central governing kidney, stomach. We've got heart, neurolymphatics right here.
And then we've got the lung, and I usually do it with, 3 fingers, and I just work, it's right in between the ribs on either side of the sternum. Those are lung points. And if you go down a little further, this might be tender on women, you're getting the gallbladder neurolymphatics there too. She's feeling them. She's got them. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it is a little.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Pardon me?
Why is it a little painful?
I'm really not sure. It just seems to be tender. Is it tender on you?
No.
Yeah? No, not so much. And then right down the center of the sternum are lung points as well, so you can just take that and massage straight. And you can just follow your chart when you're doing that. The next set of points under the right breast are liver points, or under the bra line, I should say, and under the, well, you guys don't really have a bra line, but you know what I'm talking about. So this is stomach. So we can work them all together, and you just kind of massage all along, and that will help clear energy in liver and stomach. And then on the belly button, you'll see that there are 3 sets of points. We've got kidneys, we've got adrenals, triple armor adrenals, and then we've got bladder points. And it's when we're measuring, if we find our belly button and come 1 inch to the side, literally 1 inch, you can do all 3 of these at once. You can do the bladder points, the kidney points, and the adrenals all at once. So I'll just take 3 fingers just like that and just work them on either side of the navel. And then we've got small intestine, which comes along the ribs. So our small intestine, if you just follow, kind of curve your fingers underneath that where the ribs are and massage all the way along. Kidney points are on the side of the arm, right here, right on that. There was a seam down the arm, and it's kind of in a band right there. And sometimes when somebody's kidney is off, or it's not very strong, or it seems deficient in energy, it may only take this much to bring it back on board, working the neurolymphatics. Sometimes the fix for the kidney or whatever meridian, especially when you're working the neurolymphatics, can be that fast. Then there's one point right at the front of the shoulder that I think is sore on every human. It's a tender point right there, but that's also a kidney point. I love neurolymphatics because when I do them, after I've done them, it may take 3 minutes to do, I feel great. You physically feel energized and rejuvenated when you work the neurolymphatics. Do we have any more? Yes, we do. And here's where they are. We've got points right on the top of the pubic bone. That's both flat.
There are dusty roads and empty trails, worn out shoes and tired feet, tattered dreams and fading memories, with no fire to light heart's flame again. A friendly smile, a warm hug, a pat on the back, a tender caress, a gentle sigh can relieve a heavy load.